Happy Friday! Welcome back to Drinking by Myself. My name is Emma and I am scared. In this video, we are stepping outside my comfort zone. I am going to be doing a try a chapter of 4 books I have been randomly sent that I never would have thought to pick up for myself, and then I'm going to choose one to read and you'll get to watch me vlog that experience. So the reason that I have 4 random books that have been sent to me is because of the fantastic company A Box of Stories. I'm not being sponsored by them, but they did send me one of their mystery boxes for free to review in this video. I've actually made a video unboxing one of their boxes before. I will link to that below. I played a whole drinking game around it and it was like a really big success. I got 4 books I never would have picked up and loved them. I think I gave all of them at least 4 stars. So I'll link to that video if you want to go check it out. They offered to send me another box and I absolutely jumped on the chance. As I said, I'm not being sponsored by them, but they have given me an affiliate link. So if you click the link in my description box, I will get a little bit of money if you buy something. And I also have a discount code for you. If you want to subscribe to them, you will get 30% off your first subscription box if you use the code Drinking by Myself. I have got the books here and I can't do an unboxing for you because RG, being very helpful, the other day I had this box arrive and I hadn't opened it yet because I was going to do it on camera. And he decided to help tidy up, and so he opened the box up, took the box out to the recycling, stacked the books really neatly up on my trolley. It was very kind of him, but it means that I can't unbox them for you. But here they are. If you bought a box from A Box of Stories, it would arrive in a really nice package. It tells you a little bit about the company. Basically, they rescue books from being pulped, and they choose books that have been rated highly but are not super famous. So it's a really good chance for you to discover 4 new authors, 4 new books in every box. You can decide that you want a particular genre, so they do have like a mystery and thriller box, for example. You can choose that you want specifically a fiction box. That's what I requested because I knew that I'm not brave enough to get sent random non-fiction books yet. But if you want to, you can choose a complete surprise. It'll be a mix of fiction and non-fiction titles. So anyway, I got these 4 random fiction titles, and just like last time, all 4 of these are books that I never would have thought to buy for myself. So I feel nervous because all 4 of them look like something I'd be a little afraid to read. I'm not sure how I'll get on with them, but last month went so well, so I'm excited. So settle in. What I'm going to do now is read the first chapter of each of these books and tell you a little bit about them, and then I will choose one to actually read this week. So going just from the top down, the first book I've got here is called The Floating Theatre by Martha Conway. The stage is set for one woman's bravest choice. So this is set in April 1838. Nerve-wracking, historical fiction, not my thing. When young seamstress May Bedloe is abandoned penniless on the shore of the Ohio River, she's compelled to take work on the famous floating theatre. Among the colourful troupe of actors, she finds friends and possibly the promise of more. So I'm not sure about the historical fiction setting, but I do like the idea of it being about women's bravery. Oh, I just read the rest of the blurb. I totally missed what else it's about. It's about the Underground Railroad. May gets involved in transporting secret passengers under the cover of darkness across the river and along the Underground Railroad. Okay, so there's a lot more going on than I was assuming. That does make me more interested. Without further ado, let's read the first chapter. Okay, very dramatic opening. She's on a ship and it starts sinking. I'm getting Titanic flashbacks. This seems like it could be very dramatic, and it's going to be about slavery. They've already had some discussions. So she's on the boat with this woman called Miss Howard, who's like very firmly abolitionist, but she's also travelling with her cousin Comfort, who like doesn't really seem to care. Like she seems a bit more shallow. So I think potentially this could be really interesting. Alright, so we had a historical fiction. The next book I've got here is called This Last Kiss by Madeleine Reiss. This one is about Rora Rain is finally coming home to Hastings. Hastings, England? I hope so. It's fun. 12 years after she left her grief-stricken father and fled the love of her life, Carl. Struggling to support her bright but troubled daughter, Rora has convinced herself she'll never love again. When she meets a charming stranger, Rora's heart begins to thaw. But then, at long last, she sees Carl once more, because try as she might, she can't run from true love forever. This sounds like the exact kind of thing I would love as a rom-com, but things that I would love as a movie I often don't care about in a book. I don't read romance stories very often in books, but we're going outside my comfort zone, let's give it a go. So it says here, this last kiss is the redemptive story of two star-crossed lovers, told through each and every kiss they share. Is this a kissing book?
Is this a kissing book?
Yeah, it's literally told through kisses. That's fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna read kiss 1. Melody, just need to find my way. Okay, so I really like the format. I think it's really fun at being told through all of the kisses. That's cute. But I'm not sure that it is my genre. But I do want to keep reading kisses because that's fun. Okay, big change of pace. This is Death in Summer by Michael Theurillat. Theurillat. Okay, so he is a Swiss writer. This is the first novel in the internationally best-selling Inspector Eschenbach series. Okay, never heard of them. On a blazing hot day in the heart of summer, a renowned banker is shot dead on a golf course. There are no witnesses and no obvious suspects. When Inspector Eschenbach is assigned to the case, he knows that someone must be hiding something. Okay, so I love thrillers. I don't usually love inspector-led thrillers, but I'm definitely willing to try this. To regret the word. Okay, I think this could be fun. So the main character of the inspector seems quite funny. He's I don't know, a middle-aged man. He has a daughter, and he's got some quite funny asides about the slang that his daughter teaches him and stuff. I think this could be fun, and he's kind of reminding me of Columbo a little bit, and I love Columbo. It also says on the back that as he delves deeper into the victim's life, he starts to uncover a past darker than any he could have imagined, and secrets that spread wider than he could possibly believe. So possibly this is going to be a conspiracy thriller. I could be into this. Okay, and finally, we have probably the book I would have been least likely of all of these to pick up, A Tapping at My Door by David Jackson. Just because this looks very male. Obviously, books are not gendered. Anyone can enjoy anything, but this just does look like it is being specifically marketed at stereotypically men, if you see what I mean. And it's got a blood splatter on the front. I wouldn't have picked this up myself. But there's a killer on the loose and you won't see him coming. A woman at home in Liverpool is disturbed by a persistent tapping at her back door. She's unnerved to discover the culprit is a raven and tries to shoo it away, which is when the killer strikes. So this could be creepy. We're going in. Okay, so I enjoyed that first chapter. It was told in a way that was casual and easy and readable and quite funny, and then also creepy, and then suddenly scary, but then I didn't like that it got gory. It didn't get too gory, but it made me nervous that the book as a whole could get pretty gory. So decision time. The one that I think would be the most fun to read for this video is this last one, because as I said, it's the one that I think I would have been least likely to ever pick up, so that would be the most out of my comfort zone, and I did enjoy it. But before I make that decision, I hope this isn't cheating, I am going to look up quickly on Goodreads and just see if people say that it's gory. Okay, so from my research, it seems like there is a gruesome scene in this book. If it's just a gruesome scene, I can cope because I can skim read that. I just don't want to read a book that's gore, 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 you know what I mean? So this is a contender. So I'm torn between reading this and reading The Floating Theatre. This is also a book I never would have picked up, and even from reading the description, historical fiction, not my thing. But that first scene was very dramatic, and I don't think I've read many books, I can't think of any, that are about the Underground Railroads. That's definitely something I'd like to learn more about. This is a white author and the story being told about a white character's perspective, so obviously that is a very limited perspective on this history, but it's still, historical context that I would be interested to learn more about. So I don't know which to go for. Maybe I should post an Instagram poll and see which of these people want me to try. That's what I'm going to do, because I have decision fatigue right now. Okay, I posted a poll on Twitter. I showed off all 4 books and I gave their pros and then the reasons why they're outside my comfort zone. So I put A Tapping at My Door, pros, it's a thriller, it's creepy, but out of my comfort zone because it's apparently gory and because it's written by a man. The Floating Theatre, pros, it's about the Underground Railroad, it's about the theatre, but out of my comfort zone because it's historical fiction. Death in Summer, pros, it's a mystery thriller, out of my comfort zone, it's written by a man again. And finally, for this last kiss, I put pros, not sure, I couldn't think of any, out of my comfort zone, it's romance, and it looks boring. So I'm hoping people don't pick that one, but we shall see. I'm going to leave this up for a few hours while I go and make my dinner and then decide what to read. Okay, so The Floating Theatre just won that poll by such an outrageously big margin that this is what I will be reading this week. Okay, it's like 2 weeks later. I've been kind of putting this off because, you know, outside my comfort zone, but today is the day. I'm going on a fairly long train journey. Fairly long, like an hour, but that feels long these days. So I'm going to read this. I'm an idiot and I got my timings completely wrong and I was literally 2 hours early. So I went book shopping. Whoops. I will be taking no complaints about how loud it's going to be filming with the fan going because it's hot and I need it. And also I just bought this and I'm just figuring out how to use it, to be honest. It's not doing anything. I like this main character. She's interesting and funny and she like says, she's very literal. She says exactly what she thinks and she doesn't like pay attention or even really understand like social cues. So yeah, I like her. She's straightforward. I only got my manicure done a week ago and they're still looking really cute, but when I was cooking this evening, I chipped off a corner of my thumb. Look, it's gone. I was grating a carrot and I grated it off. Whoops. My back is so painful today. Maybe I should bring my reading pillow up into bed. It's an idea. I'm nicely propped up on my pillow here. I'm enjoying this. I'm like really into it. I'm interested to see how it's all going to come together, like the different parts of the story that it said on the back. So at the moment, I'm basically exactly halfway through. It's just been about May so far, working on this riverboat, or like a floating theatre, as the name of the book says. So we're just following her story. There has been like some discussion of slavery and the fact that this theatre visits, it's going along the Ohio River, and so they're like constantly kind of going back and forth between the North and the South and like the very different attitudes there. And then also May's cousin, Comfort, has started doing public speaking out against the slave trade. But Comfort isn't a likable character at all. Like the 2 abolitionist characters in the book are very, very unlikable characters, both of them. But we kind of get the sense that they're like, you know, in the business for the wrong reasons. So I'm interested to see how it's all going to come together because May is only just really learning about she's lived in the northern US, so she's really only just learning about slavery and then learning about how terrible it is. So yeah, I don't know how that's all going to come together. I also did earlier just have a look at an article written by the author Martha Conway about a bit more about May's character and how she is the result of Martha Conway thinking about people who would today be diagnosed with autism or Asperger's or similar, what their lives might have been like in a world that predated those diagnoses existing. And so May is written as a character with Asperger's, like modelled on Martha Conway's sister, but obviously in a world that didn't recognise that or know what that was, and so people are just often like quite taken aback by her. I really like her as a character, but with that, I'm going to bed for now. It's another beautiful sunny day, and once I've made my lunch, I'm going to read this book in the garden. It's the relaxing noise of my lunch break. Are you feeling a bit left out while I'm reading? I do think that this author is doing a good job of not making her characters like white saviours, because I was a bit nervous going into reading this that it is about slavery but written from a white author and from the perspective of white characters. And I'm still only halfway through. I don't know exactly how it's going to go. It's complicated. At first I was like, I don't know what to make of the fact that the two abolitionist characters in this are so unlikable, and May, who is our very likable main character, she is only really, like, she's been learning about slavery and being very shocked by it, but she only gets involved in trying to help because she has to. She has to repay a debt, and that's how she gets involved. But I think that I like that. I think I respect that because she's not making these characters into these white saviors. She's pointing out that there were so many white people, mean white people and nice white people, who didn't help, who didn't think they could help, who didn't want to risk themselves to help. Yeah, it feels honest, I think. Something bad is gonna happen soon. I can tell. And I finished! This was a really fun experience. Like I've said multiple times, I never would have picked this book up. It just like would not have occurred to me that I might enjoy this kind of thing. And I really liked it. I got to learn a little bit more about the Underground Railroad, and it's made me definitely want to read more about it. I thought it was done in a really interesting way. Like, I liked the characters feeling very human, and the white characters not being glorified for helping in this, because they were still humans and flawed humans. Some of them helped for their own selfish reasons. Some of them could see that slavery was wrong but didn't want to put their neck out to help. Some of them took a little while even acknowledging how terrible slavery was. And I read the author's note at the back of the author saying that that was, you know, sometimes hard to write because, you know, you're coming at it with your own modern view of things. And so it seems like completely abominable to have characters who even are for a second indifferent to slavery, but that just felt really honest. You know, that's how some people were, and that's how some people felt, which is terrible and tragic. But yeah, I appreciated the author being honest about it and not just trying to write about like, oh, these heroic good white people who straight away knew everything was wrong and would have risked anything for other people. It was much realer than that, and I liked it. And it was also just, it's set on this floating theatre, which is a really fun setting, and our main character, May, is particularly into costume design, which again isn't something that I've really thought much about or know much about, so it was just fun, like, getting to follow her in that world. Doing experiments like this and then having them pay off does make me feel like way more inclined to go outside my comfort zone a lot more often. Maybe I love historical fiction, who knows. So yeah, if you want to try something like this, remember you can use my link or use my code to get money off a box of stories. This is my second time with them and I just think they're fab. It's such a fun company. Again, they're not paying me to say any of this, but they did send me a free box and I think they're really fun. So click the link to go and get your own surprise box and let me know how it goes if you do that. And with that, I'm off, so have a happy Friday and I'll see you next time.